What's up guys, this is week 2 of filming what I'm doing in a week, and this week I've actually got some stuff planned. Starting with making some more of these pots, so without further ado, let's get into making those. All right, everything's set up and the print should begin here pretty soon. During last week's video, we were actually able to get our Etsy listing created and uploaded onto Etsy. If you haven't seen that video, that Etsy listing is for these little plant pots I designed. It's so far been up for nearly 3 days and we have a total of 1 view and 1 visit, which is actually pretty sick. I didn't think we would get any for like a few weeks, but we did, so that's pretty great. Still no orders yet, but that's gonna come soon, hopefully. At the end of last week's video, I said that I had forgotten to make a little video for my listing. And to do that, I wanna show both pots with plants in them and pots without any plants in them. So what we're doing right now is making 1 pot in every single color. So that way we can make a video for this. And also we'll have a single pot ready for just in case anybody does buy one. We've only got 2 more pots to make. However, since one of my printers is currently being used to dry filament, we're gonna have to print each pot at a time, and each pot takes roughly 4 hours to make. It's nearly 3 o'clock already, and since it's gonna take around 8 hours to make those pots, that means they'll get done at roughly 11 o'clock. Technically, that's not even true because I'm probably only gonna get 1 printed and I don't wanna have my printers running while I'm asleep. So I'm gonna get everything ready so that we can print the other pot tomorrow morning. However, in the meantime, I've got quite a bit of video editing to do, and so I'm gonna do that. All right guys, it's day 2. Last night I went ahead and finished editing last week's video, and that's now all done. As you can see, I also went and made a thumbnail right here. Holy cow, my face looks kind of crazy. All right, my face looks really bright, but it's not like that in person. I'm not too sure what to think about this thumbnail. I just kind of threw it together. Might change it, who knows? But yeah, we've got that done. I also went and got the pots printed. Right now there's still supports in there, so we're gonna have to remove those. But we've also got our plants and the other pots here already as well. And so I'm gonna go ahead and remove these supports, and then we can start filming our Etsy video. All right, so we've got all the pots all cleaned up now. For some reason, all of them printed with this weird like print issue inside there where it looks like maybe it was going too fast or something and it didn't have enough time for the layers to cool down. So I don't know if I'm gonna have these pots here be ones that I'm gonna ship to customers. However, the bottoms are just fine. They just need their little silicone and TPU things, which I forgot to print. So I'm gonna actually just be using the bottoms from these existing pots already. We'll have to clean them up a little bit. However, it's kind of starting to get dark and the lighting is not too great in this room or anywhere else in this house. So I'm probably just gonna wait till tomorrow to get some better lighting to film these things. However, I still want to try another marketing thing that I've got set up right here, and that's Pinterest. I've never really used Pinterest, but I did go ahead and make us a new account right here. And so what I'm gonna do is go take our product pictures that we edited in last week's video and then add those as some of our posts right here. I'm not even sure how Pinterest really works, so we're just gonna kind of work through it. But yeah, let's give it a shot. All right, so I guess we're gonna create a pin. Oh wait, I don't even think you can add multiple pictures. Pinterest ranks pins based on relevance to searches. Mini succulent plant pots. Add a link. Now this is where we link to our store, I'm pretty sure. We might have to try Etsy ads, guys. I don't want to try right now because I want to see if we can do this without ads. That'd be ideal. What the heck is tag topics? Okay, so they're just like keywords. Let's press publish. Let's see what we got here. Holy cow. I don't know if it's just me, but this picture looks so blurry. The original one does not look that blurry. All right, so hey, it's showing me all of these other plant pots here. I actually found this listing on Etsy before, and that's kind of where I got the idea to make these. You can see they're kind of similar. However, those ones are way bigger and their drip trays are not quite hidden like mine. They are pretty discreet by the looks of that, but they're not quite as hidden as mine is. And I don't believe they have all of this nice stuff on the bottom, but that's where I originally found this. And it's kind of interesting to see that they've also got it here on Pinterest. As you can see, it's showing us all of these other pots right here. And this is kind of what I want to use to figure out what's going to be my next product. I would ideally like to create products that are useful, but we've got one right now that this one is kind of useful if you think about it, but it's mainly just a decor item. And I feel like people who are looking for a decor item are probably gonna buy one. And so I wanna have 3 decor items in total. Obviously the items that we're gonna make that are useful are also gonna look good, but I wanna have 3 decor items for people to choose from. And so this is our first one, is this pot right here. I was thinking another one could be a terrarium. So these are terrariums right here. For those of you who don't know, they're basically just a glass jar with a little ecosystem living inside of them, and you don't really have to water them at all. They kind of just self-sustain. There's a bunch of those on here by the looks of it. And so I was thinking of making a kit or something that people could buy, but I'm not sure. That one we would have to source a lot of different materials. We'd have to get like moss, the different little plants, rocks, gravel, all that stuff, and then ship that. So that one might be a little bit of work. So yeah, there's a few. This one's right here is a bestseller, and theirs looks really nice. They're selling it for 40 bucks. Holy cow. This one's another one that's supposedly a bestseller. However, it doesn't look as nice as that last one. That last one showed you what it looked like all put together. This one just looks like a bunch of plants in a bag. I don't know, but that one's in 17 carts right now. That's pretty crazy. And so that was one of the products I was thinking of. Another one that I was thinking of that's kind of useful, but also goes on your desk and is kind of a decor item, is a pencil holder. I made this like about a year ago, I think, and it just sits on my desk and holds all my stuff, and I think it looks pretty nice. It is kind of small. Man, this was made with PLA, I think, and it feels really nice. Anyways, that's another item that I want to get, but I think we're gonna use Pinterest here and see if we can find some 3D printed or 3D printable ideas that we can make. This one here has gotta be AI. Oh my goodness. $2, terrarium inside a glass jar. And then this is the picture. Dude, there's literally elephants in there. Hold on, let me go check this out. That's gotta be a scam, dude. Oh, dude, okay, it says it right here. Who would pay $2 for that? It says you will get a JPEG. I don't even know, dude. So yeah, I don't even know about that product. That's kind of wild, but I'm gonna be doing some looking at this tonight. I'm gonna see if I can maybe create a list of a bunch of product ideas. This is neat. I've seen this several times and I think this is cool. Oh, that's cool too. These ones I don't even think would be too hard. I have a bunch of plexiglass sheets that I got from making my shoe display right there that we didn't use. I think we could probably cut them up and then make some 3D printed frames and make something kind of like this, obviously different shape and stuff. Anyways, I'm gonna spend the rest of the day looking into this and also getting last week's video uploaded. So I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, guys, it's a new day. Earlier today, I went and tried to make the little Etsy video that we needed for our listing. However, everything just kept going wrong, so I'm gonna try that again tomorrow. If we take a look at our listing, actually, we still have 0 everything. So no views, no visits, nothing. However, there is something kind of interesting. Last night, I was trying to do some product research and I decided to look up these things called desk trays. They're basically little trays for your desk that you can throw your phone into or any other items that you have. However, I decided that I was going to look at Etsy through an incognito tab. I did this because I didn't want my other account to affect anything that I'd see. And I actually found something pretty interesting. So if we look up mini desk trays right now, we can see there's all of these different trays that pop up. And if we just keep scrolling, I don't know if it's gonna appear again. Okay, it wasn't on the first page. What the heck? Okay, not on the second page. It's starting to make me look crazy here. Right there it is. That's my plant pots, right on the 3rd page. Before, it popped up on the 1st page. Now, this is kind of crazy because if we look up mini plant pots, just scroll down, nothing. Okay, 2nd page, nothing. All right, 3rd page, nothing. Okay, well, maybe I am crazy. It's the 4th page and I'm not seeing my pots. Well, that's kind of nuts. First of all, my pots aren't even showing up when I look up mini plant pots. However, for some reason they're showing up when I search up desk trays. I did add desk a few times in my title and description, and so I think that's probably why it's showing up. However, we need it to show up when people are looking at plant pots. I just want to try one more thing here. Mini succulent pot. Nothing on the 1st page. Right there. Oh, okay. So on the 2nd page, it shows up. Let's go back to the 1st page. Actually, let's just look up mini plant pots. Okay, first thing I'm noticing is a lot of other people's pots are a lot cheaper. And I don't want to sell mine for dirt cheap, but I feel like maybe 25 bucks is just a little too high at the moment. Okay, let's click on this one right here. This says popular right now. 20 plus carts right now. So they're having it at was $40. I wonder if that's like a little scheme. I wonder if it was always $20. They just marked it up, but I don't know. But their title is a little bit longer than mine, I think. All right, so this is our listing right here. The picture is cutting out 2 of the pots, so we might have to take another picture. Now I'm gonna click on this. It's probably gonna tell me that somebody's checked out my thing. So we might have that still be a picture, but I think I gotta retake these. Actually, it might be a good time to retake them right now, actually. The sunlight's just perfect. Ugh. Big guy. Jeez. Okay, here's our plants. All right, the sunlight is like just perfect for these right now, so I'm gonna try to quickly get a picture. However, this time we're going to get them a little bit closer together so that way they fit in the picture a little bit better. Or maybe I'll take it a little bit further apart. I'll try them all, so anyways, I'm gonna take those right now. All right, I just got those pictures taken. I'll throw them up on the screen for you to see right now. Anyways, I thought it was pretty interesting that you could at least find mine with doing pretty broad searches. Like I feel like people are gonna be looking up mini plant pots, maybe not mini succulent pots. That's a little bit more specific. Now, like I said, I was doing some product research last night and I found a few potential products that we can make. Right now we have the terrariums. That's the one I looked at yesterday. Those ones are cool, but we need a lot of different things like moss and stuff. We also need to keep it alive. So I'm not too sure on that one. The next one I thought of was lamps. I actually went to Pinterest here and found a few. Here's a lamp idea right here. You can see the guy just turns it and it turns on. That's pretty neat. You can also see here, there's a ton of other lamp ideas. I really like the lamp idea. I think it's cool. It isn't too hard to make, I don't believe. Just need an LED, resistor, switch, and a battery. That's about it. If you want to make it like this, guys, you're gonna have to have either a potentiometer in there or a microcontroller to do it. That's the only way I can think of right now. We've also got the mini desk trays. I was just talking about those. I don't have any saved here on Pinterest, but they're pretty simple. We also got little phone cradle things, just things to hold your phone and stuff. Keep in mind, these are all ideas for things that fit on your desk. And then this one's one that I actually really like, and that's a clock. As you can see, that's a little clock. It's pretty minimalistic. There's no numbers or anything on it, but I kind of like that. This is kind of cool too. It looks like they have a AirPod wireless charging setup down there. But I think the idea for a clock could be really neat. My idea though was that we put the clock inside my plant pot. I really love the honeycomb shape that this plant pot has, and I think it'd be cool if we could just replace this right here with a clock face, you know what I mean? And then I was also thinking we kind of make it a smart clock. It'd be cool if it also displayed the weather and stuff like that. I'm not too sure whether I should go with an actual screen right here. I kind of want the analog look right here. I really like the hands and stuff. It is a little bit harder to read than just having the numbers be displayed, but I think it makes it look a lot better. And I think if we could also figure out some way to also display the weather that doesn't use a screen, I think that would be pretty dope too. I'm just not too sure though. I really want it to fit in this pot, and I was thinking we can maybe make like a little stand so it sits like this instead of like this, because that'd be really weird having to look at your clock like that. I think that could be a pretty cool novelty item on your desk. I know I would like it. I already like my plant pots on my desk. I don't have them in here right now because it's not too sunny, but I already like the look of them, so I think it'd be kind of neat to have this as well. I'm not too sure right now though. I've got to go and look up how to actually know if these are good selling products on Etsy. Also, we don't have to sell on Etsy. I was thinking if I did make this, I'd probably open up an Amazon selling account and then try to sell on there as well, because I know there's a lot more people on there. But I've got to go do some research and figure out what's actually selling, see if we can do that, you know? Anyways, I'm gonna see if I can find some videos that show how to improve your listings. And I'm also gonna go ahead and edit that picture that I just took and get that on our front page as well. All right, guys, so last night I was doing some thinking and I came to the conclusion that the picture that we updated our listing with yesterday actually sucked. I wanted to try to get all of the pots in one picture. However, since I laid them out in a line like you can see right here, I actually had to move further back to take the picture, which meant that the pots were only taking up a small portion of the actual picture. Now, maybe I'm going crazy here, but I thought that it looked kind of hard to see the pot, especially if you're scrolling past here. So today I went ahead and designed this little stand right here. I actually think it looks pretty dope and we might be able to tweak this a little bit and make this a product as well. Anyways, I made this little stand right here and then I took this picture that you're seeing right now. To be honest, I think this looks a whole lot better. You can see all 4 pot colors and they're right up in the camera. It shouldn't be too hard to see. As a matter of fact, I just did a quick little search, mini succulent pots, and the first thing I see is my listing right here. So that's pretty dope. Let's actually click on it. Ooh, boom, how about that? You can also see I did go ahead and add the video to it, which is absolutely sick. I also went and added a little discount here, so it's now $18.75 instead of $25. That's gonna go for a week, and so we'll see how well that goes. You can see my video that I added right here. Kind of a neat little intro. Shows the drip tray. My sister taking off the drip tray. The TPU and silicone grip pad. And then it just exits with all the plants. But yeah, it's pretty dope. It's a shame we can't add any sound or anything, so I just had to make it soundless, and also it had to be under 15 seconds, so it is pretty short, but I think we got the main selling points right here. Here's our main picture again. Yeah, I think that looks really good. I don't see why nobody would buy it except for maybe the price. You can see a lot of these other ones, which they are way smaller than mine, I think. They're selling for like $8, $10, $9. Okay, so this one's 31, but maybe you're getting multiple pots. But I'm gonna let it go for about a week. I don't want to be underselling this thing here. I think this is kind of a premium product, even though it is 3D printed. That's the only downside that I see. That is so neat. Man, I just love it. I just love it. I also went and did some more research last night, and I found this thing called the Etsy Handbook. Basically, they have a bunch of different articles in here that tell you what to do. And I found this one on keywords. It's called Keywords 101, Everything You Need to Know. And it just goes over everything about keywords here. How you should add them in your titles, your descriptions, your keywords selection area. And so I went through and read that. And if we actually go to my listing here, there was some things that we kind of lacked on. For example, there's this section here called attributes. You can see I've got a few things added in here now since I know that I should add that. You see, we still got a few more things here to fill out. These are basically just things about your product. And so for us, you know, this says what occasion it's for. I just said housewarming gift. They have a bunch of different options. Oh, I guess I can't see them. But yeah, these are just other things, and these count as keywords. So if I put in housewarming right here, then I don't need to put in housewarming in my keyword section. See, that's my keywords right there. Also found out that the keyword section is pretty important, and we actually need to use what's called trailing keywords, I believe. They're basically just keywords that are long. And so like this here would be a good example. Small succulent pot, mini succulent pot. Now that actually, I said that was gonna be a good example, but that might actually be a bad example because small and mini is about the same thing. So we might just want to keep either small or mini and then free up a tag spot right there. However, you can see it does use up 3 words, which is pretty specific, especially when we use succulent pot. Plant pot here, that's pretty broad, and we use that in our title, I believe. Yeah, right there. 3D printed desk plant pot. So since we're already using it in our title, we don't need to use it in our keyword section. Now, if we had minimalistic plant pot, that actually might be a better one. Then, you know, minimalistic, that adds on to it. So I think that's all right to do. What you don't want to do is just add plant pot, because then you just used up 2 keywords. That's really just 1. You know what I mean? I got to go through and change my stuff here. I think we've kind of nailed it in our description. I have a ton in the beginning of it and throughout it. Our title is pretty good too. They said you want to keep it short, I believe. Focus on writing short, clear, descriptive titles that make it easier for shoppers who are scanning a busy search result page to see what you're selling. I think we've kind of already nailed that. It's pretty short and it's pretty straight to the point. Mini succulent pot. pot, 3D printed desk plant pot with built-in drip tray. I think that's pretty good. But yeah, like I said, they have a bunch of these different articles on the things you got to do when selling on Etsy. And so I'm going to go probably read through several of them and see what we can improve on. I really want to optimize my listing, and I think we're already doing a pretty good job, especially since it's literally the first thing I saw when I looked up mini succulent pots. Let's actually go to an incognito tab and then do the same thing again. Oh, there it is, right there. Still on the first page, but it was just a little ways down. Wait, hold up. Let's do another search real quick. Let's do mini plant pots from that. Oh, won't you look at that? We're literally right there. Holy cow. Let's go to our shop manager. Now it's probably going to say it saw some people come in. Let me go to our marketplace insights. Interesting. I've never looked at this. It's called the marketplace insights mini plant pot. Let's do that actually, because that's what we're selling. Holy cow. So it's not as crazy as I was thinking. If you see here, it says this is a chart for the last 30 days. There's been 266 searches. Some of those have probably been me, dude. Small plant pot, 759. I'm going to change our title from mini succulent plant pot or succulent pot to small. All right, well, that's pretty new. I'm going to study this thing because I think this can actually help us quite a bit. Anyways, I'm going to continue to look at this, so I'll report back to you guys what I find. All right, guys, it's the next day. I went ahead and bought Etsy Plus so that I could get unlimited marketplace insight searches. And I basically spent all day doing searches to see what keywords are going to work and what ones aren't. As you can see here, I went and made a little spreadsheet that has a bunch of different keywords. It shows how many searches they're getting and the search results that are popping up. Keep in mind, this is all data from the past 30 days. Up at the top here, we have a few pretty big ones. However, there is a lot of competition here. As you can see, the further you go down, the more specific they get, but also the less searches you get. Now, the Etsy handbook says that you want to be specific when adding these things. So I tried to add keywords that were specific to my pot, but were also getting higher search results. For example, I have honeycomb plant pot. That's basically just the style of this pot. There's a honeycomb design. However, if we look at it, there's a total of 8 searches in the past 30 days. And there's also 1,400 other listings that are popping up when people are searching this. So it's not really super hot of an item. However, I did want to make sure that we got that in. Now, like I said, I've been doing this all day, so I actually went ahead and updated all of our keywords. Yesterday, I showed a few keywords like small succulent pot and mini succulent pot. That's basically just the same thing there, so we could probably just stick with one and cut out the other. I also went through and filled out our attributes here. These are other like hidden keywords basically. I tried to fill them out as best as I could. For example, we have all of the sizes right here and the style and the occasion, stuff like that. However, there were a few things like secondary color or sustainability and holiday that I just couldn't really figure out because I don't think this is a sustainable product. We aren't using any recycled plastic or anything. And also, this doesn't really go with any holiday. So as you can see here, I do have some new keywords. I tried to go with trailing keywords, which are just longer keywords. That's what I did. I didn't change any of the title or the description. I think those are probably okay. However, after I made these changes, I went on an incognito tab and looked up Etsy to see if I could find my listing again, and I couldn't find it. It was gone, disappeared. I even tried looking up small succulent pot. Actually, let's just try it again right now. Okay, well, it's there. Good thing we found it. It is on the first page still, but it's at the very bottom. So I'm not too sure. I couldn't find it a few hours ago when I looked it up. Ooh, hey, that's kind of a neat one. That's similar to our design right there. Now, along with doing some of this keyword research, I actually did find a few more product ideas. One of which is one that I think is actually gonna sell really good. Now, I don't want to tell you guys it just yet because I actually want to go and build it first and have a good kind of demo of it. But I am gonna be filming the whole process of building it and stuff, and hopefully that comes out in a few weeks here. Product isn't super hard to create. It's just a little bit different from the plant pots right here, but the data showed that it could work out pretty good, so I'm excited to see how well that goes. Besides that though, I think we're gonna leave this listing how it is for a few days. We've got basically everything filled out. I think everything's pretty dang good. And so we're just gonna let it sit for a few days, let Etsy calibrate their stuff, and we'll just see how it turns out here. All right, it's been nearly a week of having our listing up. I think tomorrow marks actually 1 week. I wasn't here for most of the day. I was actually doing some filming for an upcoming video that I have planned. So hopefully that drops here in a few weeks. I just got done doing a little bit of Swift coding. That stuff's pretty cool, and maybe I'll do a whole video on that soon. Anyways, yesterday I did go ahead and post another picture on our Pinterest. There's our pictures that we got so far. Our first one has 16 views and 3 clicks, and this one has 3 views and 0 clicks. I think some of these views might be me, but I don't know. As for our Etsy stats, we're still at 2 visits to our store. I believe one of these is actually mine. I know another one isn't, but yeah, that's pretty lame. I know it's only been a week, but I was expecting a little bit more from this, especially since we changed our keywords yesterday. I wish there was a way to see like the amount of impressions that your listing is getting. Kind of like how you can see the amount of impressions you get on a YouTube video. For example, this is last week's video. It's not performing super great. You can see this is the line that my videos usually follow, and this is where the vlog video is at. That's all right though. I think it's mainly just the subject. But anyways, if we go over to reach, you can see there's this thing here called impressions. Now impressions is basically how many times it's been shown. So you can see here, it's been shown 539 times, and we've only gotten 19 views. That most likely means that my title and thumbnail kind of suck. Actually, I guess my title isn't too bad because it is getting shown, but my thumbnail's not performing super great. And also maybe just people aren't really interested in this, but the impressions are at least showing how many times it's getting shown. However, when we go to Etsy over here, yeah, this is our stats for Etsy listings. As you can see, it's only showing my visits and orders. Now that's okay. However, I think it would be cool if they also showed impressions, just so you can see if your thing's even being shown on the front page. Right now, what I have to do is go to an incognito tab and look up Etsy and then try to find my item on the page. Which actually, this is probably a good test. Let's try it out today, see if we can find it. Maybe it's had some time to process. Small plant pot, that's very broad. Doesn't look to be on the first page there. Not on the second page. Okay, not on the third page either. Let's look up this. All right, sorry about that. Anyways, I could not find my listing on there, so I'm probably gonna go and switch my keywords back. I don't know what to think about this. I did some research and somebody said that it's gonna take maybe 4 weeks or whatever to start getting some data in. So I'm also not too sure if pots are really the best thing to sell. I mean, there's so many listings for pots, it's kind of crazy. This next project that I got in mind, I think is actually gonna be a whole lot better than this. It's gonna cost a lot more to make, but that's gonna be fine because I think we're gonna actually make a lot more money off of it, and it's actually probably gonna sell. But that's all I got for today. It's kind of a short little update. All right, guys, it's Thursday, which officially means it's been 1 week of having our Etsy listing up on Etsy. We're currently sitting at 2 visits to our listing. I believe one of these is mine, so it's really probably just one. This does kind of suck, but here's what I've learned so far. Starting with keywords. Keywords are insanely important, and they're used basically all over your listing. I told you guys about this Etsy seller handbook earlier, and basically it has a bunch of different articles that talk about a bunch of different things in Etsy. And this one here is all about keywords. The seller handbook says that they're used in categories, attributes, titles, descriptions, tags. Basically anywhere there's something that you can fill out in your listing, that's probably being used as a keyword. The next thing that I learned is product research. Now, I didn't really do any when I started making this pot here, and that was actually probably a pretty bad idea. The plant pot niche is actually full of plant pots, believe it or not, and there's a lot of people selling these things. Now that's good, that means there's a lot of people searching for them. However, there's also quite a bit of competition you're going up against, and it's kind of hard to iterate on the plant pot. Now throughout this week, I've been brainstorming some ideas, and I've been adding them to a Google Doc here. There's one that I'm gonna actually try to do, and I think it's actually gonna be a whole lot better than these plant pots here, but we'll get into that in a future video. Now, along with research, another thing that I learned about is persistence. I read this little article today called 5 Common Mistakes New Etsy Sellers Make, and one of them was giving up too early. Now, it is kind of discouraging to see that nobody's looking at our pots at all, but it's only been a week. We've got to give it some time. And of course, I'm going to keep updating this listing here, so hopefully it gets shown to more and more people. I don't want to take the listing down and give up on this thing since I already have all of the stuff to ship things out. I think I'm just going to leave the listing up, and as we go on, I'll just keep updating it here and there, and hopefully we'll start getting some sales. I also just started to learn how to price items better today. Currently, our pots are sitting at $25 for one pot. Now, I think that might be a little too crazy. We do have a discount going on though right now. It's 25% off, I believe, and they actually go down to $18 a pot. However, I think I'm probably gonna move this down to $15. With that, I would still be making a little bit of profit, and I think it would actually compete better with other plant pots. I started reading an article today on how to price your items better. However, I'm not fully through it yet, so we're just gonna have to see what I do there. But yeah, that's basically it for this week. I wish I had some better results to show you guys, but it is what it is. I believe this is probably how it goes for a lot of people, but we're just gonna try to push through this and get better as we go. Anyways, I wanna thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you go hit the like button down below and maybe even subscribe if you want to. And with that, I'll see you guys all next week.